So lately I've managed to get myself into a state of somewhat ketosis while eating a lot of carbohydrates every day. And what do I mean by carbohydrates? I mean macros of about 30% carbohydrates, 30% protein and 30% fat. And for me, this has been something I've been aiming to do for quite a long time. I think if you watch my much hated keto video, you'll know I don't really like stopping carbohydrates as a whole because they're very necessary to build hormones. So if I could get into some sort of state of ketosis while eating carbohydrates, I think that would be close to the ideal way to lose weight. Now, why is ketosis necessary? Ketosis is not just something you get into while you're fasting. It's not just something you get into while you're cutting carbohydrates out. The process of ketosis, ketones are generated to burn off fat in your body. And if you're not in some sort of level of ketosis, you will not be burning any fat. So even if you're someone who just wants to eat on a small calorie deficit and eat carbohydrates like a normal diet, you still want to be burning fat off a bit. So I got this keto meter, breath acetone meter, and I would recommend everyone, even if they're not like a faster or a keto dieter, to buy this and check where you're at in your fat burning levels. Because most people will have a breath acetone level of about 2 parts per million. That is the standard level. But recently, through nutritional and supplement improvements, I've managed to get my resting level to about 10 parts per million, regardless of eating like noodles and bread and all sorts of junk carbohydrates every day. Now, how did I do this? Basically, because I'm trying to lose weight at the moment, I was researching supplements which would help burn off fat in the body. And the first one I came across which seemed to have a lot of evidence behind it was copper. Now, copper is not a supplement that many people take. I think a lot of people are quite scared of copper. And I was a bit too, but I tried to increase my copper levels a bit. And on increasing my copper levels, I noticed an immediate increase in my breath acetone levels with the keto meter. And it was quite good. I could definitely feel a slight keto breath feeling when I did it. But it didn't last for very long. It went away quite quickly. So I went away looking for more things I should take. And copper, the reason people don't like it is because it gives you side effects. One common side effect you get from copper is anxiety. And another one is it suppresses thyroid. So I particularly don't like it because it reduces my body temperature. But I tried to figure out how to address these side effects. So I thought most of the time you get a side effect from supplement is because it's reducing something else which you need. If you take copper, it might be using up your zinc or using up your whatever, which is causing these side effects of anxiety and being cold. So I looked around for what I could take to address these copper side effects. And the first thing I came across was molybdenum. Now, molybdenum is not a very common supplement. It's used mainly for detoxing sulfides and I think processing nucleotide bases from DNA production. But what it also does is reduce anxiety. I think potentially anxiety from the sulfides. I'm not sure about that. But I tried this molybdenum because the copper was definitely giving me anxiety. And it mostly fixed it. So I could find whenever I got anxiety from taking a bit too much copper, if I just had a bit of molybdenum, it would mainly calm the anxiety down. And the thing which was really interesting to me about this anxiety was it came up, not through any like social situation or anything, it just came up when I would use a bit too much energy, I found. So the one which was the most interesting was when I'd have some sort of copper supplement and I would feel a bit of ketosis, my levels would be up at like 8 to 10 parts per million or so. And I would go to the gym because I want to do some cardio in this ketosis state. So I'd be doing my exercise bike in the gym and I'd get to about 20 minutes and I'd start feeling anxiety. And it's not like anxiety like I'm worried about something. It's like anxiety like your nerves in your brain are just firing a bit too much. And I figured out when I get this anxiety from exercising, I could take molybdenum and get rid of it. And if I do not do that, and I just finish the exercise with the anxiety, then I check my breath acetone levels, and it's down in the dumps. It's back to 2 or 3. But if I took my molybdenum while I was exercising, when I got this anxiety, I could keep my ketosis levels around 8 to 10 parts per million acetone. So the molybdenum was absolutely necessary to maintain the ketosis levels. And you can tell when you need it because you will feel anxiety after taking the copper. So at the moment, I'm basically up to waking ketone levels of like 10 to 12 parts per million. Not ketone levels, acetone levels. And most babies, in fact, also are in a light state of ketosis after they wake up. It's just us as adults, for some reason, lose the ability to do this. I'm not sure why. I think it's probably just because we are deficient in the nutrients required to burn fat. But I've discovered that being in ketosis does not require you to have zero carbohydrates. It does not require you to be in a fasted state for 3 days. It just requires you to have the correct nutrients to actually burn fat off in your body. And if you're going to accomplish this, you will get into a light state of ketosis regardless of eating carbohydrates or not. And there is one more nutrient I found which has been essential to keep this ketosis going in me, and that is codeine. Now codeine, you'll know from my last video if you watched it, it's in lecithin, and it's one of my favourite nutrients. But codeine, I realised I needed it because the copper and the molybdenum were making me feel cold. Now, I don't like being cold. I like my body temperature as close to 37 degrees as I can. But while I was getting into this ketosis state, regardless of eating carbohydrates, I was down in like 36.5 or 36.4 temperature, and I was feeling a bit cold while I was doing it. And I figured out this coldness was due to depleting my codeine. So when I feel cold, when I start feeling shivery after I've taken the copper and the molybdenum, if I take codeine, which is lecithin, the supplement, I can reduce that feeling cold, restart my ketosis, and get my body into a state where I have high energy despite being on this calorie deficit. And honestly, I think this is how everyone should lose weight. It makes no sense cutting out your carbohydrates completely because you lose your hormone production. You need your hormone production to make testosterone and make muscle and keep your metabolism up. And in the same way, it makes no sense just to cut your calories while you're in a state of nutritional deficiency. Because if you're reducing your calories with a crappy blood acetone level of only 2 parts per million or so, then you'll just be reducing your blood sugar levels and burning up your sugar more, but you have less sugar to use, so you'll just end up with very low energy, but you won't really be burning up your fat very much. So it's almost the worst of both worlds. I prefer you just to not eat any carbohydrates and just do a totally fasted diet. But if you can keep your nutritional levels correct for burning fat and reduce your calorie intake at the same time, you will use up most of the extra calories from fat. Now, clearly I've only been doing this for 2 weeks. It remains to be seen whether I actually get any results from this. So I will keep you updated. Maybe I will lose a load of weight and be left with only my muscles. That would be nice. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll find some more nutrients, which I need. It's very much a work in progress, but it's very interesting to me that this was actually possible. I had no idea it was possible. I've never heard of anyone managing to do it. And I'll keep researching it further. But for now, that's all. You guys try it if you want. I would definitely advise you to buy the keto meter at least, just to see where you're at and see if you're actually managing to burn fat on your calorie deficits. But yeah, I hope someone found that useful, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Oh, subscribe.